Welcome everybody, this is SharePoint Patterns and Practices webcast, and this time we'll have a look on the Application Lifecycle APIs, so-called ALM APIs for SharePoint Framework Solutions and SharePoint add-ins. My name is Vesa Juvonen, I'm a Senior Program Manager from SharePoint Engineering, and with me today is Erwin van Hunen from the community side. So Erwin, will you do a quick intros as well?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Erwin van Hunen. I work for Rancor as a product owner for transformation, and I've been working with Vesa already for quite some years now in the PnP effort.
Quite a few years indeed, yeah. So yeah. Just to mention that, because that was pretty cool, we're just checking quickly one super old recording from 2014 related on PnP monthly community calls. But anyway, let's concentrate on today's topic. Now, we wanted to talk about the Application Lifecycle ALM APIs, as these were released in November 2017, and these are available for you to manipulate and deploy your solutions, SharePoint Framework solutions and add-ins from first of all to the tenant catalog, and then also from a tenant catalog to the site level. So essentially we support an add operation where you can actually then add the SPFx file or an app file to the tenant app catalog. From the tenant app catalog, you can obviously, that will then trust the things. You're able to do all of that automatically using an APIs. From when the solution is in app catalog, you can also then install the solution to the site collection level, or in the site level to be precise, because add-ins and SharePoint Framework solutions are installed on a site level in the site collection. And then if you add a new version of the add-in or a SharePoint Framework solution to the app catalog, you can absolutely upgrade that existing instance in the site level. And this is, for example, in the context of SharePoint Framework solution, this is for non-tenant scope deployment solutions, so those which are actually getting physically installed on the site. And then obviously, if you need, you can always uninstall and do that operation automatically as well. That arrow is kind of a misleading, to be honest, because the solution does exist in the app catalog. You're not really moving that to the app catalog, but it's getting away from the site. And then there are a few additional operations in the app catalog level as well. So when you're adding the solution in the app catalog, the solution isn't immediately available to be deployed to the site. So you need to actually enable the solution, which is so-called app catalog trust operation, which is a deploy action. And then you're able to undeploy or undisable the solution by using the retract, and that means that the solution or app is still in the app catalog, but it's not available to be installed or used within a site collection level. And remove is relatively obvious, so getting the solution away from the app catalog completely. Anything you want to add in here?
Yeah, I do actually. I just wanted to actually thank Microsoft for this API. Yes. I think the thing is, this, in my opinion, completes the remote provisioning story, and it's unfortunately has taken a few years for this API to arrive, but yes, now it's here, and I think this is just wonderful. It really completes, because until now we were able to automatically provision all kinds of artifacts, but the only thing missing there was the apps. And now we have an API for it, so now we can fully automatically provision sites, create artifacts in sites, and add apps to those sites without intervention of someone actually navigating to a page and clicking on someone.
Correct.
So all those people that have been working around in all kinds of weird hacks and ugly things, and by automatically clicking things and everything, that you can stop doing that now, because there's now an officially supported API. I think it's great. Wonderful.
Yes. Oh, you mean people like us who were wondering how to make this happen?
Yeah, among others. Yeah.
Among others, yes. And just to be super clear on that one, so this does take care of the trust operation in the site level, and to be able to do so, you need to have a sufficient permission. So all of these things is absolutely guarded by the right permissions as well. So we're checking that the person has the right permission to be able to add the app to the app catalog. We're also checking that the trust operation in the site level, the context has the right permissions as well. But it is no doubt, like Erwin said, it's an awesome capability to finally have this. For add-ins, we should have no doubt have this for years already, but it's better later than never. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, indeed. So basically, the bottom end is, if you can install apps today, and to the app catalog, etc., you will be able to use your APIs here. That's the story.
Absolutely.
And this is available today.
Yes, this is available, absolutely available already today within your tenant. Now, what does it actually provide? So from a conceptually level, still repeating what we went through maybe on the previous slide as well, but basically programmatically you are able to manage customization deployment. So both SharePoint hosted add-ins, or not just SharePoint add-ins, not just SharePoint hosted, also provider hosted, and also SharePoint Framework solutions. Fully automation support, including the trust operation, so you don't have to, there's no bending action to be applied on a site level, so you can fully automate an add-in or a solution to be deployed on hundreds of thousands of site collection if needed. If needed, the app-only operation is also supported. And if you're in the case of provider-hosted add-in, for example, if the provider-hosted add-in has the app installed events or app uninstalled events, all of those are getting fired as they should be when these ALM APIs are being used. So basically, what these are doing is exactly the same as the end user would walk through and install an app to the site in a site context, and then trust that, and that would fire the app installed event and all of them.
Right. So just to confirm, or to say it again, because we got the question a few times already when we talked about this ALM to other people, to this API about other people, is that this applies to any app. It's not only an SPFx SharePoint Framework app that where you can use these APIs. Any app works. Yes. So provider hosted, SharePoint hosted, the whole thing. It just works.
Yes, indeed, and it is actually amazing that it just works. It's just mind-blowing how fine-tuned the whole API surface is from that perspective. Yep. Now, looking into slightly more detailed on the supported operation, so we have three ways of actually doing this ALM or using and utilizing the ALM API. So natively, from a SharePoint engineering perspective, we provide REST APIs and REST APIs which are available in the underscore API, in the under the web object and underscore API. And we'll have a look on all of those in here. Now, the CSAM APIs are provided using an open source community channel, SharePoint PnP. So SharePoint PnP and NuGet package has then a wrapper on top of the REST API, and also the BMP Power Shell has then the PowerShell commandlets if you rather want to script these operations using PowerShell. And this is just listing all of the operations which are available. So you're able to get available apps from a tenant app catalog. So what has been installed using those three different options. You're able to get additional insights on available apps in all of those three options as well. And this is essentially giving you insights like the version of the add-in which is available from the tenant app catalog, and is there a newer version available, for example, than this version which has been installed on the context of the site. So you're able to use this particular API for that, so to get by ID operation. Then no doubt you're able to install an add-in from the tenant app catalog to the site. You're able to upgrade to add-in if there's a new version available, and then you're able to uninstall the add-in from the site level. One thing maybe to notice on the uninstall event, this is because this is an automation, and this is really designed for support that automatic way of uninstalling and installing stuff. When you do an uninstall, the add-in doesn't go, or the solution doesn't go to the recycle bin. So it will actually get immediately removed from the site level, and that's something to be aware. It is by design, so you don't have to do additional steps of clearing the recycle bin, because that would get super complex. And then in the app catalog operation level, you're able to add a solution to an add-in to that catalog, and you're able to deploy, essentially enable that solution to be added on the site. That's what the deploy means in this context. You're able to retract, which is disabling the solution or adding to be able to list it or to be able to add it on the site, and then remove will get rid of the whole add-in from the app catalog. Relatively logical set of things. Maybe it's something to notice here, which is good discussion with Irvin. Why is the verbs in the PowerShell side slightly different from the verbs in the REST API?
I was about to bring that up. Yeah. So in PowerShell there is a list of verbs you can use. While technically speaking, we could have called it deploy PnP app. It's not an allowed verb in the PowerShell word. world. So we had to revert to one of the existing verbs that there's a whole list in PowerShell that you can actually retrieve. So give me the allowed verbs. And we settled for publish and unpublish in this case. So they don't match the deploy retract, but effectively they do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, good set of things and awesome set of APIs which are now available. And let's have a quick live look on how these work in practice. So, from a simplicity perspective, we can use the BMP Power Shows, right, Irving, for the operations. Technically, like shown in the previous slide, you can absolutely use REST or you can use CSM as well. But for demonstrating the capability, demonstrating the behavior, we can use the BMP PowerShell to really keep things simple. But let's do that and then come back on the slides after that.
Right. So let's have a look at how it works then, how to actually provision or install an app and then install it into the site. So add an app to the app catalog first, and we'll use the APIs for that. And in this case, I will use PowerShell. And then after it has been installed into the app catalog, I will install it in this site. And the app I will install is a little extension that will work on a document library. And well, you will see it actually work. So here we have the document library. And if I go to the document library, there we go. There's just an image file in there, and here we will here you will see the app pop up after the installation. So let's move to PowerShell. So I already did a connection, and it's important to understand that you do not connect. So we're using PnP PowerShell. So basically, you do. I can show you again anyway. You do not connect to the app catalog. You just actually connect to the site where you want to do the work in the end. So if adding the app to the app catalog, you do not connect to the app catalog, you can just connect to the site. We will do the work behind the scenes for you. And from a technical perspective, the commandlets do not call the REST API as we showed in the slides before. They actually use the CSM extensions that we built with PnP that are available in the NuGet package for PnP Sites Core. So that's what they use behind the scenes. So
to be honest, Erwin, on that one, so that then those CSM APIs are using still the REST APIs underneath.
Those CSM APIs are actually using indeed the REST APIs, but we do all the plumbing away for you because there's a lot of things to figure out. You have to get the request digest and et cetera, and all that work is being just abstracted away for you. And at CSM, you just basically have an app manager that allows you to install, deploy, retract, etc. It's very simple to use. So connected to the site. And if I want to see a list of all the apps available, I simply enter get PnP app, and it now connects to it, does some handshaking, and the result is here are my apps. And you see there's no installed version of any of the apps, but some of them are deployed. One of them is not deployed currently or enabled in the app catalog. Yeah. And what I will do right now is I will install an app and then I will deploy it. So I say add PnP app, and then it wants a path, and I have that one located here, and this is an SPFx extension, so click enter, takes a bit, and there it is. That's all there is. The app is now available in the app catalog, and you see there's a specific ID. What it returns is an object that you can use for other actions. You can use that object to install. If I put it in a variable, I have that object there. But right now, I will just use the ID that you see here. So if I say now publish PnP app, it wants an identity, and I will copy this ID over and paste. Press enter. And if I say get PnP app, you will see now that the SPFx discussion is there and it is being deployed. It has been deployed. So right now the app is available for me to install into the site.
Yeah, that's slightly misleading, kind of deployed. What does it mean? But it's kind of enabled to be used in that.
It's enabled, yeah. Just the API behind the scenes calls it deployed, it is being, from a UI perspective, it's called being enabled. Yeah. So now I have this app installed. This is the ID, and I say install PnP app, identity, paste in the same ID. And what it will do right now is we'll take the app from the app catalog and install it in the site. So I press enter. There we go. And if I now navigate to my site and I go to site contents, you will see in the bottom there is this grayed out entry there. This is currently installing the app. Just like when you do it manually, it will take a bit. It is not instantly installed. It will just take a bit. So I press F5 a few times.
Now, can you go under the PowerShell and do the get available apps? And just to update, is it now already the deployed option or installed version? So
you see the installed version right
still
now.
Empty. So because it has not yet been installed on a site. So, and we are in the context of the site, and that's one of the things. If you're familiar with BMP PowerShell, it might be obvious, super obvious, because we connected on that site collection and in that site. But if you think through this from a SharePoint Online management perspective, that this is a slightly different thing, because we connected to the site. That's why Erwin didn't use the URL as a parameter in the install BMP app, because we are already in the context of the site.
Exactly. All the commandlets work within the context of the connection, the site you connected to with Connect PnP Online. Indeed. So you see there's already an installed version listed right now, 1.02.
Oh.
So if I go back to my site and refresh this, there, it is now not grayed out anymore. The app has been installed. So if I go to my document library, click on document library, it's loading. There we go. And I highlight an item. There's the Discuss Now app. Click, and the add-in works. So it's just successfully installed, and without me clicking, trust and everything is just. It just works, simple as that.
And from a terminology perspective, it's not actually an add-in in this case. It was a SharePoint Framework solution, but still, both works.
True. Yeah. Fair enough.
Slightly confusing always. What terms are we using?
Slightly is not the word, I would say.
Fair point.
But indeed, it just works, simple as that. It was very simple, just a few commandlets. You can, of course, just write your own application using the ALM API provided by PnP and do all these steps in one go. Build a simple application that just installs or uploads the app to the app catalog, deploys it, and installs in the site. Everything can be fully, fully automated. Removing the add-in app solution extension is as simple. You just say uninstall PnP app with that same identity. And if I copy this identity here. Oh, I made a typo. Yeah. Uninstall PnP app.
A is missing.
I'm missing an A at the end?
Yep. No, not in the end.
In the beginning. Right. It's not a valid quit. There we go. Sorry. I should have looked at the error message here.
Yeah, it usually
it tells me that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good point. There we go. App has been uninstalled. That's not really true. It is currently uninstalling it. So if I go to the site contents, no, it's actually in this case already gone.
Yeah, it slightly depends. So this is the time and job.
Sometimes it's faster. Exactly.
It really depends on when did the request get in and how's the time and job getting executed on the server side. Now, in the SharePoint Online sites, one thing to notice on this one, mentioned this already in slides, is that when you do the uninstallation, the add-in is not, or the solution is not in a recycle bin. It is actually getting uninstalled properly from the site.
Indeed, it is gone.
Yes. And that's by design, like mentioned, and because this is for supporting end-to-end automation and not avoiding.
Exactly.
Because if we would put it in a recycle bin, then there would be additional ways of, how do we get rid of it from here? So there would be additional steps.
So almost everyone that has been developing add-ins and apps, etc., has been running into that issue with items ending up in the recycle bin.
Correct.
So that issue is not here with these APIs, which is great, I think.
I noticed I was testing something completely different earlier today, and I noticed that I was using these BMP Power Shells to get rid of the add-in because I needed to get it reinstalled on a site. So getting the add-in uninstalled on a site immediately was the easiest way to do that. Was the BMP PowerShell. So
right. One thing I would like to show you, if we go to the app catalog, and we find the app here. You see an ID there. It is important to understand that this ID, and that might be a bit confusing, is not the same as that ID. It's a different ID. Good, important to understand. So do not navigate to your app catalog, copy that ID, and use that ID. It will not work. You will have to use the API. There's other ways of figuring out, but you have to use the API. That's the easiest, I would say, to figure out what the ID of the add-in app extension solution is.
Yep.
That you can install and uninstall.
Yep.
So get PnP app, and I'll actually show you how to remove the app from the app catalog too. Very simple. So again, remove PnP app, identity, and now let's copy it, including the A. There we go. Takes a bit. There we go. And now if I refresh this page, it's gone.
Cool. End-to-end operation, end-to-end automation. This is absolutely great. Great to have finally available.
Yep.
I think that's it for this one. Let's flip back on the slides and do summary of the webcast. Thank you, Erwin.
Okay. Yep.
And thank you, Erwin, for that one. So good setup of things. So the basic setup is okay. Basic setup is working completely seamlessly, like Erwin said when we started the webcast. It just works, which is super cool. But I think that's it. We went through what are the operations available. We went through the considerations. We talked about the app owner support. We talked about app install event getting fired. We talked about the uninstallation being immediate. Anything what we're missing here, Erwin? What comes to your mind?
No, I think it's a pretty complete story. The whole life cycle from provisioning to activating to installing or to deploying to installing is currently present. Something I would like to bring up is that if you're wondering if you're a user of the PnP provisioning engine, we are actually working also on extending the engine so that there will be so that you can actually provision and install apps through the PnP provisioning engine. So that is upcoming. We're working on a change to the schema for that. And in one of the upcoming months, it will be released. So you can actually use a full story with the PnP provisioning engine. Creating the site is obviously not part of the PnP provisioning engine, but then applying the artifacts, creating artifacts in the site, including installing apps, will be part of the whole provisioning story coming from PnP.
Installing, and to be precise, installing those apps or add-ins and SharePoint Framework solution which exist in the app catalog. So
yes,
because we always work in the context of a site when we talk about the BMP provisioning engine. Cool. I think that's it. Thank you, Erwin, for a great demo. Thank you, Erwin, for great questions and additional insights on the discussion. And we'll come up with a new webcast sooner or later. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.